So the question I've had, is it possible to show the vendor account balances in the original currency as the system just shows it in local currency?
As standard, you can't see this directly on the vendor card, as you might deal with multiple currencies per vendor. However, if you run the vendor summary aging report from the vendor card, it will show you the balances per currency. So I'll just show you how to do this now. So I'm on the Business Central Role Center. What I'm going to do here is just head over to vendors, head over to Fabricam, which is the vendor I've chosen to do this. I put a couple of transactions behind them in different currencies. Head along the ribbon here to reports and just going to select vendor summary aging. So this brings up this screen here, which is the report screen. Period length, I'm just going to add a little 1 year on there, just so it picks up everything in the list. There's not many transactions on there, but it will show you the ones that have been. Just going to preview that now. Right, so here we have the vendor summary aging report. I'll just zoom in slightly further so it's a bit easy to read. As you can see, vendor summary aging, and we've got the 3 transactions here, 1 in GBP of domestic currency, so there's no currency symbol shown, 1 in Euro, and 1 in USD, and this is all shown on here. Next up, I've got, is it possible to show the amount invoiced against a purchase order on the purchase order listing screen? So not as standard on the purchase order list, a very simple piece of development for a flow field in the header, which will then add up the line levels. This can then be shown on the list view. Next question is how to produce remittances for paid, aged payable invoices. So usually you'd print or send remittance advices from the payment journal. However, if you wish to send a remittance advice for a historical transaction, you can go to the vendor ledger entry screen, select the payments you wish to print, and then select Run on the Send Remittance Advice action. So I'll just show you how to do that. So I'm on the Role Center here, select Vendors. I'll come over to Fabricam, over to Vendor Ledger Entries. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to select a couple of transactions by pressing Select More. Select that one and that one. Just going to go Actions, Functions, Send Remittance Advice. And this will bring up this screen here, which will allow me to select where it's sent to. And then you can change where you'd like it sent. Another question I've received is how to post invoices in a foreign currency. So to do this, you would change the currency on the invoice details on the invoice tab. If a customer or a vendor is always transacting in a particular foreign currency, you can change that on the vendor or customer card, and it will bring it through on each further transaction you do. I'll just show you how to change it on a purchase invoice, for example. So I've got the purchase invoice here. I'm just going to select the vendor. And what I'm going to do is just come down here quickly to the invoice details tab. You don't need to show more on this, and it's got currency code here as the top box. Just going to come here, select Euro, click that once, fill in the lines. As you can see, for the add up here, total excluding VAT in euros with this figure. Next up, I have how to set up invoice approval workflow. So standard approval workflows can be created from templates in the system. There are a lot of variations depending on the type of approvals you want to carry out. There are also third-party add-ons, add-on solutions that can be utilized to enhance the approval process. For example, through a portal. Please talk to us for more information and training on this, and we'll be more than happy to help you with that. Another question I've received is how to use allocations on a purchase document. So this is actually the same principle as purchasing a general journal, and we've got a video that will show you for this.
The next one, I'll give a brief walkthrough on the slide, and then I'm going to give you a little demo within Business Central. And this is to do with statistical accounts. So statistical accounts are numerical accounts that don't have a monetary value associated with them. So it's a very simple new ledger. So for instance, it might be that you want to set up a ledger for your number of employees or your square meterage or the number of picks you carry out in a warehouse. And you can create a particular account, and then you can post very simple ledgers, ledger entries to those accounts. So you can assign them with dimensions as well. So for instance, with employees, it might be you assign a department dimension. So you can record the number of employees that you have in each dimension. This was released in Release Wave 1 this year. There's a new functionality that's been released in Release Wave 2 that allows you to use these statistical accounts to automatically allocate when you're posting general ledger journals. So let's go and have a quick look in Business Central at these features. So I'm going to click here on my bookmark for statistical accounts. Now, if you're not aware, any page you go into in Business Central, if you use it regularly, there's a bookmark tag in the top right corner. If you click that, it will then appear on your role center at the top in the bookmark. So quick top tip for you there. Here we have two statistical accounts set up. We've got employees and office space. So let's click on employees. And as we can see in here, we've got employees and we currently have a balance of 73. So there are 73 employees at our company. And if I drill down on this flow field, you can see the transactions that have gone in to make up that number of 73. So we've got each individual transaction here, quantities, and then the department code, because I've chosen to use department code with this particular statistical account. So I can see who we have in each individual department. If you need to make a change to that, there are statistical accounts journals, and if I click on here, here's one I prepared earlier. So end of May, we're putting through a decrease for the employees statistical account, and it's the decrease in the sales staff. So I'm removing one person from my sales department. So if I'm happy with that, I can then post and register it. That's now successfully registered. If I go back to my employees tag, you can now see that I have 72 employees on that statistical account. Now that I have some statistical accounts set up, how can you use these? Under the finance and financial reporting, which used to be called account schedules, we've got an example here called revenue per employee. If I click into here, this is a financial report. It's set up to show me by month the amount from each revenue account that I've got on my chart of accounts. And if I scroll down here, you can see that I'm also pulling in some statistical account information. In this case, I'm bringing through the number of employees from my employee statistics account, and I've got a filter on it to just show me people from the sales department. And once I've got that value brought in, I can then carry out automatic calculations in these reports. So in this case, I'm showing the revenue per employee. So this is the total sales divided by the number of sales employees to give me a value there. So you can start using these to produce financial reports that analyze, for instance, sales or maybe cost overhead by number of employees or by floor space. In addition, they've also introduced the new account allocation functionality. This is in its first iteration, so we're going to have a quick look at allocations. And there are allocation accounts. Now, I've set one up called rent allocated by floor space. So this is an allocation account where you can say in here, I want to split down any amounts posted to this allocation account into these general ledger accounts, and I want to use the office space statistical accounts that I've got set up to distribute the values. And I can also assign filters. So what I've done here is I've said for the administration department, any office space associated with them, I want to split out that value, and also for production and for sales. It's a little bit clunky. I think they'll probably refine this in coming versions, but you can see how it's starting to build up some useful functionality here. Once you've got an allocation account set up, you can then use those in sales and purchase documents, but also in general journals. So if I have a quick look at a general journal, and we go into the default batch, in here I've got a line that I've created. So there's a new account type here called allocation account. So I've created a line against my allocation account for rent floor space. I put a value in there for £10,000, and then I can see how that's going to be split out. So if I do a preview posting and then look at the general ledger entries it's going to create, I can see that it's created lines. It's splitting out the values there based on the distribution of the floor space across each individual department. So it's breaking the £10,000 down proportionally, and then also assigning the dimension codes to it, the department code to it as well. So again, it's a little bit clunky, but I think over the next year or so, 6 months to a year, I think they'll probably introduce some refinement to make this a much more usable solution. But I think it's usable as it is. You just need to be aware that there's a few bits of additional setup and working around you might need to do.
Another question I've had, is it possible to close periods for posting invoices, whether that be sales or purchases, but still be able to make allocations for customer and vendor accounts? So not exactly. You can close the general ledger setup for everyone so that nobody can post, and this will be done through allow posting dates from to and from, and then override it at an individual user level. But you can't restrict it based on document types. On to the next. How to enable processing pro forma invoices and then turning them into sales invoices. To do this, you would need to use prepayment invoices, which we have a really good video on our Business Central Training Center on our website to show you how to do this. Alternatively, you could use sales quotes and then convert quote to an invoice. We also have other guidance on this, also on our training center. Another question I've received is switching bank feed on and connecting Business Central to bank accounts in both pound and foreign currency possible without any additional development work. So currently there's no way with Standard BC to connect directly to your bank. You can set up bank imports and exports that allow you to import a downloaded bank statement and then export a payment file to upload to your bank. With many high street banks, that setup can be done without any additional development. However, due to the complexity of some files, a small amount of development may be required. There are quite a large number of different partner add-ons that do allow you direct connectivity to your bank. One of our preferred partners, Continua, have a module that's currently going through FCA approval that's hoped to be released to the UK market this quarter. This module allows direct downloads of bank statements and improved reconciliation functionality and direct upload of payments. Please let us know if you're interested in this and we can have a chat. Thank you. So moving on to the last question, why when we are sent an invite to these webinars, do these forms not self-populate? Our name and email are known to you as you sent us the email. You're not the only one. I don't know of anyone that has solved this annoying conundrum. So for us, we use a marketing platform for sending out mail shots and invites. This handles all of the GDPR regulation. This links to a separate website, for example, Microsoft Forms. So there's no easy way to take data from each individual email into this form. However, it is actually possible if you use Microsoft Dynamics for Marketing app, which is all Dataverse integrated. All of the contacts and all of the data from your contacts database, the email marketing and the sign-up form will all be integrated and automatically filled out into that. The price point of this solution tends to be quite high compared to the relatively small amount of marketing that SMBs use, so this is why quite a few don't choose to use it.